Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My message this morning is titled, What Do You Want? And that can be a difficult question to answer sometimes, can't it?
Yeah.
It can be complex and undecisive and all that kind of thing. Trying to make a decision about something usually comes down to knowing what we want and what we don't want. However, when we know that what we don't want becomes the thing that we focus on, it changes everything for us. You know, there's all kinds of examples in life that we have, and a lot of decisions we have to make in life that come down to how we focus in on it. And you might, let me see here. Yeah, for example, you might want a new house or car, and you can't really decide what kind of house or car you want. You know that you want a two-bedroom, more than a two-bedroom, one-bath house. You know that you don't want electric car or you don't want a pickup truck, but you don't narrow in on what you really want. And I think it's easy for people to say what they don't want rather than what they really want. And when we focus on that, we're not really engaging our spiritual side or self. Another example is when we are at a restaurant looking at the menu, you know? We look at the menu and we think, God, I really would love to have that I'd really like to have that big old burger right there and fries. And then you start going, oh, but wait a minute. I probably should eat something healthier. I probably should look at the salads, or I probably should look at the chicken or whatever. And you know, the thing is, again, we're going back to what we don't want. Because if we in that moment are attracted to some particular food item, and it really is singing to our soul, and we're thinking, man, that would really looks good, or we see somebody else's plate that looks really good and you want that, but then you think, oh, that's too much, or whatever the excuse is. And then you start going into, well, I really would like to have that, but no, I shouldn't. All we're doing is limiting ourselves. We can pick that great thing that we want, and if we're satisfying the feeling of the excitement that we have about that, then we're not going to overeat. We're not going to sit there and feel bad while we eat thinking, wow, I wish I would have got what she was having. We don't have to go there. We can pick what we want, eat as much as we are to be satisfied, and then take the rest home or leave it on the table, whatever. But when we pick something that we think is healthier, what do we usually do? We're stressed out already. We start gobbling it up. We eat it all because we think we're going to make ourselves so much healthier, when in the long run we probably are overeating and not really doing the best thing. And then sometimes we even say, oh, well, I had that salad, I guess I'll have a dessert, when you're too full to be even eating the dessert. But we do this, we focus in on what we don't want instead of what we do want. And if we're making the decisions about what we do want, then actually we're going to be living healthier. So,
we should have a hamburger?
Yeah, if that's what you want. We might know we want to grow spiritually. Same thing about church. You know, how many people want to grow spiritually? Quit talking about food over there. We all want to grow spiritually. We're talking about spirit now. But some of us might not want to leave the house, or we don't want to get up and get dressed, or we think it's too far to drive, or oh, the traffic's too heavy. So we're focusing in on the things that we don't like about going to church instead of focusing on the things that we do like about church or that we enjoy from church. And, you know, we might be saying, oh, I don't want my week to be negative. I don't want to be grumpy. I don't want to be frustrated. I need to go to church. But then we don't. We just sit there and wallow in that thing we don't want. And we might think, oh, throughout the week we think, oh gosh, I got to make some time for God. I got to stop and pray. I've got to spend minutes in meditation, whatever. But then you say, oh no, I'll wait till Sunday and come to church. That'll get it for me. And then what happens? Your friend calls you Saturday night or Sunday morning and says, hey, you want to go out to lunch and shopping with me? Or you want to go hiking tomorrow? It's going to be a great day for all that. And what do? You don't come to church anyway. So you're not spending that time with God. You're not making that room. You skip the whole thing yourself. And then you don't get that spiritual growth that you need. And we're still focusing on what we don't need and don't want, opposed to what we do need and want. And again, if we focus on the spiritual, we'll know exactly what we want. And I think that all these examples are exactly the same thing, don't you think? Same experiences. We're always struggling, and we create this turmoil and unhappiness for ourselves by not focusing in on what we really do want.
The volume is really high. Is it high for anyone else? It's really
Hey, Bill, just turn it down just a little bit, please. So what do we want?
Take care of me.
That's the question. Okay, Reverend Temple Hayes, she wrote this. You guys need to have a conversation. Our lives are like a jigsaw puzzle. We trust the manufacturer to provide us with every piece of the puzzle to give us what we need to obtain the image on the box. Yet often we do not believe in the manufacturer, our creator of our own lives.
That's cool.
Isn't that good?
Whoa.
So yeah, we can focus in on those things that these pieces we're trying to put together, but we're not really focusing in on what God wants to give us. Big difference, big difference. It goes back to that whole idea of focusing in on what we don't want instead of what we do want. Anyway, our souls have this deep desire to bring forth that Spirit of God, to bring forth the idea of growing spiritually. And all we have to do is pay attention to this desire. We all have it within us, don't we? We have this longing, this churning, whatever you want to call it, is within us. And we need to approach it from the right angle. So here's desire from the Revealing Word, the definition of desire. An expression of the inmost being of man, the onward impulse of an ever-evolving man. It springs from deep within the being, and it has enduring power. Deep desire is essential to spiritual growth. So that longing that we have within us is essential. It's supposed to be there. It's supposed to be there kind of like as a, I can't think of the word. The point.
Oh, apex?
Well, no, but that's not what it's saying.
Anchor.
No, that's okay. You know, when you've got balance in the middle, there's the
Equilibrium.
Fulcrum.
fulcrum. Thank you,
There you
fulcrum.
go.
The fulcrum, the point of balance. So we use that as a point of balance. We use the idea of desire as being something that is calling us forth for a higher spiritual understanding, but also to help us decide what we really do want in our lives. And if we use that desire in the right way, we will receive everything we need, because God is bringing that forth through us. And it's that easy. We know that we have this feeling, and yet we don't know what it is causing it, so we try to fill the feeling with outside things. This is where we veer. We do. That's where we order the wrong food. That's where we sit there and look at all the cars that we don't want. That's where we can't pinpoint the right house. This is when we make friends or hang out with people, make friends or hang out with people that we don't want. It's because we're veering from that Spirit of God within us. Sometimes we just haven't found the right one yet. Not trying to be that. But when we start veering, we start thinking other thoughts too. Like we think we need to buy a new book to read, or we need to watch a new video, or we need to explore something else. Or maybe we feel like, oh, this feeling I have is a need to go to lunch with somebody, or to go on a trip, which all of those things are great. And I want us to experience all of them. But because that's the good that lies before us. And is this really what our souls long for? No, because we can't just fill up the feeling with other things. We can't fill up the feeling of desiring that cheeseburger with other things, because what's going to happen? It's not going to fill up the feeling, is it?
No, it's not.
We have to pay attention to what that desire is speaking to us, what our soul is speaking to us, and be open to whatever the good that's coming forth. We can get so narrow-minded so easily, can't we?
Yes.
We can think that we know exactly what we want and how we want it, and we're going to make it happen. But that's not accepting and receiving the good that is available. That is limitation and lack. And we have to keep that open spirit to allow the desire that is within us come forth with that highest good. When we block that, what I'm talking about veering off or blocking it, Fillmore calls this repressed desire. And repressed desire is the desire that is forced out of your consciousness into the subconscious mind without changes according to spiritual law. This means that Spirit of God is working in and through you, bringing forth this desire, this urge. Is saying, hey, I got some good for you. I got some good for you. It's in your consciousness back here. But the minute you start bringing it forth into your subconscious mind, you're making it all about you. You start seeing that as what you want, how you want it to be, what is going to be. And it's okay to make decisions about stuff, but it's not okay to narrow your good, your abilities, what's coming forth for you. So there's this balance that we have to have with desire. We have to be able to know if we're steering it and veering it off the road, or if we are, and if we're driving a car and we veer off the road, we know we're going to crash, right? But why can't we see that in our spiritual growth? Why can't we bring that forth in our spiritual growth, that same guidance, that same idea that we don't have to veer off the road? We don't have to have repressed desire. We can quit edging God out and making it all about us and having our ego inflated and thinking, oh, I've got the perfect idea. No, we can be open up to whatever. And it's hard and it's scary sometimes to say, okay, God, I'm just so done. I'm just giving it to you. Just let me just follow. Let my desire be manifested in the here and now. There's nothing wrong with that plea. There's nothing wrong with that quest. And when we do that, it changes everything. I mean, it changes your thinking so strongly because you're no longer just focused in on the subconscious mind, that small m mind. You are allowing the big M mind to come forth with more ideas and more of a thought process, really. And we really do start living by that fifth principle. Thoughts, words, and actions put into action. The truth that we know. It starts becoming more relevant. It's just like saying you come to Unity Church. I watch stuff, have watched different people say stuff about Unity Church on some of the ministers' discussion, different things. And people want to make an excuse for unity. Unity's that, we're Christian. You might not like it, but, it's a good church. We're real positive, all that kind of stuff. But we have to be knowing that we are following our heart's desire, that we are following the path and say, yeah, our church is great. And I want you to be a part of it because I know you're a positive person or you're a spiritual person. I can sense that from you. And when you do that, it changes everything. And it helps people engage and jump in and be in that place. But, when we start making it all about us, sometimes we get that whole thing hung up on what we think, what we want, and that we create scenarios of sabotage, sometimes without even knowing it, right? I mean, sometimes we just go along and all of a sudden we think, oh, why is this happening to me again? Or why do I have to experience this again? And we relive that horror over and over and over again. It's when we are focusing in on what we want, that narrow-minded subconscious mind, small m mind, what we want, instead of being open to what all could be. We can't keep going there. We have to quit playing that story over and over again because it does show up in your mind, body, and spirit. It's not just about you growing spiritually at that point. It'll show up in your body. It'll show up in your mental health. You won't feel good about yourself. You won't feel good about others. You'll start not being able to trust people. All these things will surface because you're not coming from that true spiritual self. It can end up with depression, or you just feeling like you don't have enough or you're not good enough. You can feel like you're in a deep hole that you can't even climb out of, and we don't want to be there. I found this cool quote, and I looked up the person who wrote it, and her name is Rachel Marie Martin. and she wrote a book, The Brave Art of Motherhood. I haven't read the book yet or anything, but I thought this quote was good, not just for mothers, but for all people. And it goes like this: sometimes you have to let go of the picture of what you thought it would be like and learn to find the joy in the story you are actually living.
Amen.
Now, isn't that true?
That is.
We get so darn hung up in how we think it should be,
Right.
or what the world is telling us it should be, that we just create ourselves to be miserable. Oh, I'm not dressing my kids cute enough, or they're not wearing the designer clothes. I mean, I've seen people that shouldn't be spending the money on the clothes, and they go and buy their kids, $50 pair of shorts. What for? I mean, it's ridiculous. But I'm saying that we have to not let outside influences affect us. We need to realize that when we live the way we feel comfortable living, then the joy is going to be there. We don't have to create a new story, but we can create a new story in any story. I know I always wanted big family get-togethers. We'd have these in Wichita. We'd have these big parties for Christmas and usually my birthday, or in the summer we'd have a big thing where we'd invite all the church people and everything, because we had the pool and all the kids. And I did youth church then, so we'd at family reunions, we did that once or twice, didn't we, dear? Anyway, 60, 80 people, no big deal. It's great fun. And I loved it. I loved to do that. It was something that sang to my soul, to bring not just birth family together, but the people that I called family together. And then, the kids grew, and times change. And then, we moved here, and so it's like recreating a new family, really. But I always enjoyed the events and stuff we have at church, because like even on the potluck Sundays, I love that. I love to look down the table and see people conversing and having fun and eating good food and enjoying themselves. And, it doesn't have to be like hoop party. It can just be that idea of coming together in community. And as much as I enjoyed those times of big get-togethers, I had to learn new ways to accept what is now, and not only accept what is now, but find love and joy in these moments. It was a new scenario for me to all of a sudden not know everybody in town. I mean, I couldn't go anywhere where I didn't know somebody, and people would talk to you. But coming here, I was like, I don't know anybody. I could go to the store, and at first I was kind of like, I don't know anybody. I didn't see anybody that I'd seen down in Old Town, the kind of thing. But it was funny, because then I started thinking, well, this might be kind of cool. I wouldn't have to worry about putting my makeup on to go to the store or do my hair, because nobody's going to attribute that to my business, But so you find new ways of finding the joy in a situation, or finding that soul's desire, because my desire was to always have this community of having fun, and it does sing to my soul. And but the good news is that all of you have created this new scenario for me, because we get together and have family dinners once a month. We get to come together and share in that love, and I appreciate all of you that have hung out through all of this and keep supporting us and the ministry, and the idea of supporting each other. It's a beautiful thing. And that's where you're tapping into your soul's desire. That you are feeling good about doing this. And that's the kind of feelings we want to bring forth. So I started thinking about all this, and I thought, well, what is an easy way to change our thinking from being in that mode of what do we want to knowing what we want? And I was sitting there praying about it, because at this point when I put this message together, I was kind of like stuck. And I thought, God, and I thought, well, I'm going to walk away from the computer and just pray about this. And so it was so funny, because I busy work will get your mind flowing with the Spirit of God sometimes. If you're just doing dishes, or you're doing laundry, or something repetitive that you do every day. Well, hair and makeup, that always gets me in the morning. But so I got busy doing the dishes, and all of a sudden I heard God say, God said to me this. He said, ask them to put a smile on their face. And I thought, what? why would I ask them to put a smile on their face? How is that going to change anything? You know? I mean, how is that going to change their thinking? And so then God said, well, not just a smile now, but a smile all the time. He said, ask them, can all of us smile all the time? And so I thought, okay, I'm going to write this. So I went back to the computer and I wrote it. And then I said, can we smile all the time? Because it's a big difference to sit here and not smile, believe it or not. Try it. I mean, just smile. Doesn't it feel better?
Yes.
Are you all smiling?
Yes.
Are you smiling at home? I think we can. You know me, I always say send love. But some people have a hard time sending love. But it might be a baby step to sending love to be able to smile, to just look at people and smile. And I've said this before, I love this experiment to go to the grocery store or go to Target or Walmart and just walk through, smile and smile and smile. Most people, will smile back at you. But there are these people that look at you like, are you crazy? Have you lost your marbles? But I just keep on smiling, no matter what. And it is fun. And you see that you're bringing joy to yourself, that you're bringing that idea of being in community, and that pure joy that comes forth. And believe it or not, there's some science behind some of this. So the science has proven that smiling can uplift your mood, boost your immune system, everybody, lower stress, and can even prolong your life. Now, don't you know some of the people that they interview that are centenarians are the happiest people, the happiest people, because they've smiled their whole life. They've just been joyful. They find the joy in everything that they do. And it's amazing what a smile can do for us. And here's some more statistics. This is actually from the facialcenter.com website, but I thought this was cool. Many people, around 30%, will have an average smile rate of about 20 smiles per day. So we might have 20 smiles per day. Less than 14% will have a smile rate of fewer than 5 smiles a day. Now that's almost like, the statistics on hugging. That everybody needs 14 hugs a day to feel good about themselves, but most people don't even get one. Yeah. That's why Unity is so great about hugging. Anyway, on the flip side, children smile at an average rate of 400 times a day. Wow. Think about that. We are at 20 smiles a day when we're adults. Kids are born and start smiling instantly. 400 times a day is their average that they smile. The important thing to remember is that smiling influences your mood and level of happiness. It totally sings to that desire in your soul. It totally brings forth that essence of spirit within you. If we smile, we are bringing forth the power of God and that energy of God. And I'll tell you what, no matter what's happening, I know you were talking about your air conditioner, but if you start smiling about your air conditioner is going to be okay, and you're affirming that, it's going to change how you feel about that air conditioner. I guarantee you. It's amazing how we can bring forth that desire from our soul and experience that joy and experience more spiritual blessings. That's what's cool. And smiling to me is like a big thank you to God, isn't it? Yes. I mean, we don't have to say thank you. We're just smiling because God is here with us each and every day. What a great thing to be happy about. Here's some more statistics. This is from calmhealthcare.com. Smiling helps you live longer and makes you look younger. Okay, everybody, where's your smiles?
Yes.
They say too, plastic surgeons will say smiling actually helps your lines and your frown marks, that you get as you get older. If you smile, see, it takes them away. So we just said, oh, did you get some work done? Yeah. It's called smiling. It's free. Anyway, smiling conveys a message of happiness, approachability, and confidence. Now, some people might think we're crazy because we smile all the time, but no, it's confidence. Don't we love that? Here's another one. Smiling boosts the immune system. I already said that before, but smiling is contagious. And smiling is a global sign of happiness. I'll tell you, when you see kids and you smile at the grocery store or wherever, if you start smiling at them, they'll be smiling, waving, all that kind of stuff. It took me years to figure out why kids, I feel like I've always had kids always were attracted to me, and they would just come to me. I think part of it's they know they can trust me, but the other part was I think because I always smiled and I was always happy, and so if you're like that, then you're going to bring that joy and that pure essence of joy that children have. But did you know that you even start smiling in the I think that's the lesson I have on that. But you actually start smiling in the womb.
Yes.
Did you know that? And babies, when they're born, they have done studies that say they actually do smile. Now, yes, some people say it's just relief of gas or, whatever, going to the bathroom, whatever. But they also say that babies really do smile. They've proven it. So if you think about the fact that you were born with a smile, or before you were even born, you were smiling, you know how important that is to keep us going. And those 20 smiles a day, or 4 smiles a day, if you're one of those people, you need to up that game. You need to start having more smiles on your face. If you get on the phone and start talking to somebody and you have a smile on your face, changes the conversation. It truly does, because you're bringing forth that essence of God.
Excuse me, Francie.
Yeah.
Last week when I kind of had my little meltdown, a friend came over and they had an 8-month-old baby. And as soon as that baby smiles, you can't help but want to smile with it. I mean, by the time they left, I was,
Yeah, it's that joy. It is that joy. And that's our true spiritual self coming through. Babies, of course, are pure spiritual beings, so they show you how important it is. Okay, I say Lao Tzu, but some people say Lao Chao, which I was going to ask Maria if she was here today, but she's in Tennessee, because that's how they say the Chinese version says it. But anyway, he has this quote: "Needing nothing attracts everything. If you want to become full, let yourself be empty. If you want to be reborn, let yourself die. If you want to be given everything, give yourself up." So what this means to us is some simple little things that can help us, actually. Did you get a picture? Did I turn it to Chris? Okay. When our desire becomes nothing but a longing, a relationship with God, we will attract everything and it will be good. So that desire within us is that longing. So if we desire a relationship with God, if we always think, that desire that's speaking to me is saying, I need to share the energy of God with a smile, or I need to take time to pray, or I need to take time to meditate. I need to bring forth that essence of God. It's going to bring forth more of what we desire. And the idea of being empty, I'm on that first thing, let yourself be empty, means that you are actually opening yourself up to being in that state, to being in that place where you can not be prejudiced, not feel pain, not be negative, where you're moving and having your being in that positive state of mind. And the result will be that our hearts will be so full of the love of God. We will be smiling all the time and be so full from experiencing God's love that nothing will be able to rock our world. Isn't that a good place to be?
Yes.
Yeah. And we will feel that joy and energy, and it just changes everything. It really does. It changes our whole perspective, how we look at things. We won't think we don't have enough money to do something. We won't think that it can't be done, or that it'll not ever be done. Right now I'm thinking about the building, we've heard all these things, but God is bringing this forth. Well, and using Reverend Warren, a lot of work, but bringing it forth, and I'm saying it's going to be. And I'm not going to speak any words of our church not having enough money or enough energy or whatever. It's going to happen, and I know it will. And we'll feel like we're walking on clouds too when we're in this state of mind. And we all know if we don't make it all about us, dropping the selfish side of ego, letting that conscious mind, that small m mind, release that idea that we have to be in charge, we are letting that part of us die out to the true expression of spirit, which is the way we truly want to live, isn't it?
Yes.
We want to live from that spiritual beingness that we are. And this can happen in any moment of any day. It can happen with a smile. It can happen with a thought, a positive thought. It can happen with a breath, believe it or not. Just taking that breath. Our true self, our spiritual beingness, will emerge like a newborn butterfly, and we will feel free and unlimited. Don't you want to be like that newborn butterfly, just
Yep.
merging forth with that desire of your soul and knowing what you want, knowing that what you want is to have that relationship with God, and then everything else falls into place. If you're at a restaurant, affirm, I know that God is right here with me, and I am bringing forth God, and then the right food will be chosen. The right house is going to come forth because you're going to be aligned with the Spirit of God. We know this. We know this. And these suggestions that I've given you today can be the process of finding the answer to the question, what do we want? Thank you for being here today. God bless you.